LoreWarrior Aerotech. MIK-O Tatsu. Overview. Once the Draconis Combine had mastered the technology of Omnimex, the first one walking off the assembly lines in May of 3052, its next logical goal then was to tackle the Omni Fighter. This would prove much more difficult, however, and years would pass before a prototype Omni Fighter would fly the skies. Finally, though plagued with issues, the Coordinator authorized the production and release of the Psi Omni Fighter, a direct conversion of the craft whose production plant had been overrun by the Smoke Jaguars. Though the release of the Psi was likely done as a means to boost the morale of the DCMS, Wakizashi Enterprises weren't willing to let the matter of an Omni Fighter rest with the Psi's production. They immediately began work on a new Omni Fighter that would be built from the ground up, using their years of trial and error on the Psi to correct the egregious errors of that craft. In 3062, the Tatsu Omni Fighter flew its first test flight. After passing all trials with flying colours, it began mass production in 3063. Capabilities. The goal with the Tatsu then was to create an Omni Fighter that could deliver a maximum amount of damage to ground-based targets. With an impressive 41 tons of pod space, it amply accomplishes this goal. Some ferro-aluminium armour was left off the craft so as not to cramp the pod space available, but even so, it has an impressive 16.5 tons, giving it superb protection for a craft of its size. Deployment. Due to the depth of the logistical and technical support apparatus put into place for servicing the Combine's Omnimex, it was a relatively simple matter to expand this support to include their Omnifighters. As such, the Tatsu has quickly become a staple of regiments like the Sword of Light, the Ryuken, and the Genyosha, as pilots don't need to worry about things like maintenance. Tatsus are now slowly reaching the DCMS regular regiments, and one has even been spotted in the 7th Ghost Regiment. So the Tatsu is a 70-tonner, its frame is the Wakizashi 7 modular, its power plant is 210 Shinobi Extra Light, its armour is the Neketsu Metal Weave Standard, with 41 tonne of pod space, manufactured by Wakizashi Enterprises on Chatham. The communication system is the Garrett T-22, and its targeting and tracking system is the Neko Magane 6, or Cat's Eye 6, as we discovered last time. Now, the loadout is impressive on this thing, but its safe thrust is 5, its max thrust is 8, and it has 10 double heat sinks. Overall, it has 86 armour on the nose, 69 on the wings, nice, and 40 on the aft. The configurations are in a small text, so let me just strain my eyes for this. The primary configuration is a nose-mounted MRM-10 with 24 rounds of ammunition. It has 2 ER mediums in the nose as well. Then it has a large pulse and a medium pulse in the right wing, with a larger medium pulse in the left wing. And in the aft, another MRM, this time an MRM-30, with another 24 rounds of fire. And it has an extra 4 double heat sinks. So, yeah, quite a lot of missile spam, and a fair amount in the rear arc. It makes sense, because if that's the only weapon, you may as well have the ability to spray a lot of missiles behind you to try and deter any pursuers, or at least get them off your tail long enough for a supporting craft to help. But yeah, the pulse lasers definitely make it a lot easier to hit targets. The 2 large pulse and the mediums giving you a nice short to medium range punch there, and yeah, the MRM is pretty good at hitting faster moving ground targets. Yeah, overall pretty good. The A configuration is a pretty solid hitter as well, a pair of ER PPCs located in the nose of the craft, with 4 medium pulse in the right wing and 4 medium pulse in the left wing. This is backed by another 11 double heat sinks. Yeah, that thing's going to be hot, but the amount of damage that it can pump out in a single strafing run is insane. I mean, even attacking other dropships, that's going to be a lot of damage. The B configuration is an LB-10 in the nose with 20 rounds of ammunition, an LRM-15 with 24 rounds and Artemis in the right wing, 2 ER medium lasers in the right wing, and then basically the same in the left wing. No aft firing weapons on this one, and it has an extra pair of double heat sinks. So that's your pursuit craft, really. That's the one that you use to engage other aircraft with the LRMs, and then you can also easily have it switch over to attacking like mechs and stuff at range, hopefully at a safe distance, and then trying to finish off damage units with things like the LBs and the ER mediums. And then finally, we have the C configuration, which has a pair of Streak 6s in the nose with 30 rounds of fire, an MRM-40 and an MRM-40, one in each wing with 18 shots. So entirely ammo-based, but this one would also be very good at hunting down other fighters. Probably also being very good at destroying things like light mechs. Definitely the kind of, or tanks, would definitely be the kind of craft that you would want on standby for strafing runs and stuff. Yeah, the Tatsu, it's quite powerful, and not a bad little craft, actually. I quite like the art for this one. Got a wing setup and that. You can see on the artwork there that's the primary configuration because it's got the aft-mounted MRM-30 there, which is it's a nice touch. It's not like I don't know if it's. I guess it fits within the hull, so you don't have drag. I guess when it's going through, because if it was a sort of a top-mounted launcher, it would probably create too much friction, especially trying to enter and exit orbit. That would probably cause a bit of trouble. So yeah, being embedded into the back, that makes sense. But it probably also reduces its kind of firing profile. So yeah, you probably have a bit of trouble with that. I do wonder if this would be a craft that may have two pilots, and I would assume the co-pilot might be someone who operates the rear-firing weapon. It doesn't say, does it? It mentions pilots, but yeah, you never get an idea for crew on a lot of Omni fighters or just aerospace fighters in general. I suppose it wouldn't be out of the realms of a two-seater. Who knows? Anyway, that was the Tatsu, so thanks for listening. As always, everybody. Not as big a write-up. Some of them aren't, really. They're just a bit short on descriptions, which is always a shame, especially aerospace, because it gets so little. But yeah, have a good one all. Thanks for listening, as always, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.